All right. Welcome to the Navigating Consciousness podcast. Thank you for being here with me today. My throat's already going off. Let me get a bit of water. All right. So last week for those of you who watched, it was a fun experiment, focusing primarily on human design. And yeah, it was good, but I wanted to get back to the more the namesake of the show, which is about navigating consciousness, and that is what I'm here for. In my previous iteration, I used Wayfinder as my sort of handle or tagline. The Wayfinders knew where to go. They knew where to go. They knew how to navigate by the stars and the current, the wind. And they would guide their people safely, and that is very much my role in this lifetime is to help guide those who come to me to safety. The energy today was very dense. I wanted to touch on that and do a bit of work on that actually, so that we could maybe release some of that pressure, but. The first thing that I really wanted to talk about is this idea of freeing your mind and what that really means, because it's not about freeing your mind so that it's like a better mind. Your mind is your mind. It's going to always kind of be like that. Just like your body is your body, it's going to always be like that. You can remove some of the pressure and some of the stress that might be robbing your body of some of its resources, and then your health improves or your physicality improves. You can train your body to do certain things, but you'll only be able to do it as well as your body can possibly do it. We're all limited by our genetics and life experiences. You have an injury on your leg and you lose some range of motion. I mean, that's it. It's like, yeah, you can get it pretty good, but it's never going to be like 100%. And that's going to affect how you run, how you jump, how you move around. Freeing your mind is about freeing it from the act of decision making. And this is really the beautiful thing about human design, is that it identifies the major problem that we all have, which is that we rely on our mind to make our decisions. We think we can plan and strategize and figure it out, we'll figure it out. That's just our mind talking, right? That's our mind under pressure, right? Our mind feels like it has to figure it out. Our mind feels like, or has been told, that it's up to the mind to strategize and to plan and to find the solution, to our problems, or to guide us to a better life. But our mind's not going to do that. It's not what it's built for. So in freeing our mind, what we're freeing it from actually is the responsibility that never should have been put on it in the first place. It really is just about response. It's about responding, It's about saying yes to what you want to say yes to and no to what you want to say no to. It doesn't matter if it makes sense or not. It doesn't matter if your mind rebels at the thought of saying yes to something that, on the face of it doesn't make any sense, because you're not going to know where it's going to take you. Your mind can't possibly know where this decision, you saying yes to this or you saying no to that, where it's going to lead. It's impossible. There's too many variables, too many things to keep track of. So I want to do a bit of work for you all. I want to do a bit of work on the very dense energy that we're in currently, and again, helping to alleviate some of that pressure for you all. And I also want to do some work on this idea of freeing your mind from the responsibility that should have never been put on it in the first place, so we can just be who we are, right? Without, considering too much or planning too much or strategizing too much or thinking that we can figure it out, because the fact is we can't. If we could have figured it out, we would have figured it out by now. We've been on this planet a very long time. Haven't really figured it out. We figured some things out, but like how to make life bearable, consistently. how to make the right decisions, how to make the right choices, how to be in the right place at the right time with the right people, so that you can alleviate your suffering. I mean that is really what it comes down to. It's about alleviating suffering. Your mind will never ever lead you to a place where you are alleviated from suffering. And that's just, again, it's just sort of how it is. Before I do this, we did post a comment, but I just want to throw it out there. Anyone who is watching who wants to get a human design reading on the air, I will do it live. If there's anyone out there who wants me to take a crack at their body graph, just drop your birth info in the chat, and I'll get it, and I'll get to that a bit later on. So, yeah, we just need to turn so I can see the chat. Turn the TV on. Sweet. All right. Well, let's just all take a moment and just take some breaths, and let's all just sync up, And again, this isn't a mental thing. This is a physical thing, right? This is an energetic thing. This is a consciousness thing. So just feeling into that connection, and I'm just reaching out to anyone who's there, anyone who's watching, and I'm not only going to be reaching out to people, and this is actually kind of an interesting thing. I'll talk a little bit about time before I get into this. Time is a dimension, right? So all of time exists at all times. Oh, awesome. Krista, thank you so much. Yeah, I will definitely look at your body graph. You got it. So when I'm doing this work that I'm about to do for you all, it's not only the people who are watching live in the now, it's also going to be affecting people who are going to be watching this at a later date, because past, present, and future are concepts, and time is a dimension. And it all exists at all times. So once we, again, not limit ourselves by the mental constructs that are helpful. It's helpful to have, a past, present, future, certainly. But it's not, strictly speaking, real, right? It's just a mental concept. So let's just start off by working with the energy that I've been feeling today, and I know because I've been talking to a few of my clients, and everyone agrees it's a heavy day. So I'm sure you've been feeling it in your way. Some people like that feeling of density, and so it may not feel bad. So if you've been having a good day, good job. But I know there's a lot of folks out there who have really felt it this morning and feeling kind of crushed in a certain way by it. So those are the folks who I'm really reaching out to today and hoping we can help. And the thing is, when the energy comes up like that, it is showing us what's there. The energy isn't causing anything, it's just highlighting certain things. So what's being highlighted? Well, let's take a look. So, the first episode that I did of this program before John and I started, doing this series, it was just the first show. We didn't know it was going to turn into a weekly thing. I did a session talking about the individuation process, talking about the heart, and how the heart is the sort of the central intelligence hub of your body. It's literally the heart's rhythm, that is setting the frequency, setting the tone for how our cells operate. Obviously also getting oxygen to our cells, very helpful. But our heart, it's our heart's awareness of who we are when we're whole, right? That is the information that our heart carries. And doing an individuation process is about removing any and all influences that might be trying to inform our body of what it could be, or what it should be, or what it needs to be. And our heart's a brain too, so it does have some cognitive ability. There is room for mind in terms of how our heart operates, but the heaviness, that I was really picking up on this morning seems to be hitting folks more in their heart than anywhere. And this idea of hope comes up. And yeah, hope it's a funny thing. Some people, again, there's actually, in human design, there's an aspect called motivation, and it has to do with the color and tone. I mean, these are, we don't need to get into the details, but it has to do with what's called the substructure of your personality, Sun, Earth. And the color and the tone of your personality, Sun, Earth, is going to inform what your motivation is. Mine's a fourth color, and so my motivation is about need. And specifically because of the tone, the need of others, the needs of others. I'm literally here to look at, what other people need, and that is a big part of my motivation. And that is my motivation. Some people are motivated by hope, and it's very natural for them to be motivated by hope, which means that they're very optimistic. It means that they're open to anything, open to all the possibilities. So again, for those people, I'm not really, this session isn't for those people, because they're all, it's like, I don't need to mess with that for them. They're hopeful. They're always going to be hopeful. It's natural for them to be hopeful. But if you're not being motivated by hope, having it doesn't really make a lot of sense. And a lot of people hope for things. They hope that things are going to be better. They hope that they're going to feel better tomorrow. Tomorrow will be a better day. Maybe this problem will resolve itself. And that doesn't mean that they need to focus on the other side of it, which is, like probability. If you're not focusing on possibility, then it's probability. It's not what's possible, it's more what's certain. And that's another motivation. And they're actually diametrically opposed. You could be motivated by guilt, which is probability, basically. It's like knowing what's going to happen because it's very probable. It's not possible, it's probable. It's playing the odds. Just what's coming up here is like hope. If it's not what your true motivation is, it can weigh very heavy on your heart. You can feel like you should be hopeful, like there's something wrong with you if you're not optimistic, or you're not hoping for the best, which is going to be most people. Most people aren't going to be motivated by hope. You're going to be motivated by something else. But just this idea that, if you're not happy, if you're not light, if you're not positive, you're not hopeful, that there's something wrong. And like this dense energy that was very present this morning especially, it seems to have lifted throughout our day here, was very much weighing heavy on people's hearts and very much bringing into focus some, hopelessness. There's been a lot of unrest in our country. A lot of unrest in various countries. Many countries having unrest. Economically, things are looking kind of shaky. Politically, things are looking shaky. There's no reason to think to hope for the best, right? It's not to say that we need to focus on what's probable either, because if we look at that, that's not a pretty picture. Some people need to. Some people need to look at what's probable, but again, most people won't. So it's just about, the ability to respond. And this is like the big thing that I've been really working on, the ability to respond. There's no doubt that we're going to be needing to respond. We're going to need to pivot. We're going to need to be adaptable. Things are going to be thrown at all of us that is going to require a significant amount of presence and a flexibility and adaptability that for a lot of people is going to be very difficult. But if you follow your strategy and follow your authority, you'll probably be okay. Right, but that on its own requires a substantial amount of flexibility, a substantial amount of adaptability, because again, it goes against the mind. It goes against the mind's training that we need to figure it out, right? We need to look out there. We need to see what's going on and make our decisions based on like the most logical, reasonable, or hopeful possibilities that we see in front of us. So the first step toward freeing our mind, freeing your mind, is freeing your heart. You know, freeing your heart from all the variables that are causing it to, constrict and restrict and to feel heavy, to feel dense. This feeling that something's not right, you're not right, you should be feeling better about yourself or other things. You should feel how you're feeling, right? Like that's the most important thing. You should feel how you're feeling, think how you're thinking. I mean, it's just what it is for you. So let's see what we need to do. So I've discussed these things, right, about systems, and belief systems are systems, right? Enough people believe in something and it's true. Enough people believe in the New York Yankees, you have the New York Yankees. Enough people believe in, name it, right? And it becomes real. And if enough people don't believe in it anymore, or it's shown to be false, then that belief system is essentially dead, literally dead. These things live and die. So there's a system, and it's very big. And this is a real nice opportunity that I have, doing this work to touch on these systems that are massive systems, belief systems. And in our global world, in our global culture, these systems have been able to amass billions of contacts. So this system that we're working on right now, which is weighing heavy on many people's hearts, has 2 billion contacts. There's 2 billion people connected to this system, 2 billion hearts that are weighed down by the presence of this system. And it's an inner critic. It's like self-judgment, this idea that, if you're not feeling positive, if you're not feeling good, and like all the social media stuff that's out there, best life ever and all, it's like, I mean, that's not real. We all know it's not real, but we can't help but feel bad. We see a beautiful person on a beach or whatever, and like the reality is that that's also fueling its own sort of destruction, right? Because now all these like locations that are so beautiful, where all these people go to get their picture taken for Instagram or whatever, now they're attracting so many people. It's like it's kind of ruined. That beauty is no longer accessible. So that's like it's a secondary thing, but it's all part of it. So we're lifting this system out of the hearts of 2 billion people. This inner critic, self-judging. I should feel better than I do. I should look better than I do. All that stuff. And maybe it would be nice if we could feel better than we do, or look better than we do, or be more optimistic about our future, or be more motivated, be more confident in ourselves and all these things. But from my perspective, the only way that we're going to get there is by living our life authentically. And anything that interferes with our ability to live our life authentically is never going to get us where we want to get to. And it's all mind. It really just is all mind. Human design is mind too. Like, I'm going to go over a body graph and it's fun. Our mind can be super fun. But, all that information, it's not going to really help us. It's entertainment. It's trivia. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I'm not judging any of it. And I study it and I love it. I think it's great. Makes me feel good, right, to do that for people and with people. So totally fine. But it's really, it's very simple. It's just responding, responding through strategy, responding through authority, making the right decisions for you. And that's what we're working on here. And this system, like I said, it's massive, you know, 2 billion points of contact, drawing energy from 2 billion people, all of whom are basically thinking the same thing, right? Thinking that they need to change something about their life, and they do, but it's not what this system is telling them it is. It's something very different, and more than likely something very individual. So let's just clear that. Okay, cool. I'm going to drink some water while that's happening. Okay, so there's something else that we need to take a look at today, and you know, we'll just roll this way, and I'll just do the work this way, and as I'm working, I'll be, you know, giving you all some, what I hope is helpful information. There's that word again, but yeah, you know, what I hope is helpful information that you need, you know, information that will set your mind at ease, that will allow you to access your body's navigating potential, you know. So let's see what else we need to take a look at here today. All right, we're going to do something for the ladies out there. So this one is in particular for women, and I'd say most of the people who I come into contact with in this world are women. Men seem a little hesitant to, you know, do this work. When I was doing body talk, any training I was in, it would be usually me and, you know, like a dozen women or, you know, 20 women, and you know, which as a younger man had its perks, but yeah, it's just what it is. So okay, something for the feminine. So there's something, yeah. So something comes up about beauty here, and yeah, you know, it's interesting because this again, you know, this weird kind of conflict, like there's something. Like, yeah, of course, a woman's value is more than her beauty, right? More than her looks. But then at the same time, you know, it's like talking about Instagram and influencers and people going to these beautiful places, which are usually inherently feminine, right? Very feminine places on the planet, like, you know, lush tropical, you know, forests and oceans and like all, you know, all these places. These are all very feminine areas, not like the pyramids. You know, that's a very masculine spot. You know, but these beautiful temples, you know, with like, you know, trees and fruits and, you know, ocean, like all that, you know, very feminine places. Hawaii actually comes to my mind as well, which is a very feminine, very feminine place. I've never been personally, but I know the energy of it is very feminine. And, you know, it also has, you know, there's a strong masculine component there, but that's almost in response. It's like the men there are big and they like to fight and like all that, right? Because it's almost like they have to compensate, you know, in a certain way. So, yeah, and so like when we're working on the feminine here, we're not only working on the women, you know, we're working on the feminine areas of the planet, you know, these very beautiful areas of the planet whose value has come down to that they're beautiful. People like going to them. People like having their picture taken there. You know, they like to tell people that they went there. You know, it's places people like to look at. People like to be close. You know, enveloped in that warmth, in that magic, that feminine aura. So, and the earth, you know, the earth itself, I mean, the earth is beautiful. It's unlike anything else as far as we know, you know. Very feminine, very beautiful place we find ourselves on. There's other parts to it as well. I mean, you know, this, you know, oxytocin which is what helps women bond to their children, it also makes them very aggressive, right? So like you don't get between a mama bear and her cubs, because of oxytocin. It's the oxytocin that makes that bear very aggressive. If that bear doesn't have cubs, it's not aggressive because there's no oxytocin. So yeah, so it's all, and what I'm getting at is like, yes, there's the beauty of the feminine, but there's also like a savagery to it, when threatened. And the earth itself is kind of more than capable of savagery. Hawaii, more recently, there's talk about what actually went on there. I don't know. I'm very happy to entertain conspiracy theories, but yeah, the earth is waking up. The feminine is waking up. The future is going to be more feminine. Certainly, the energy that's dominant is going to be feminine. It's a feminine energy, feminine dominance, and the whole thing about women being already in a place like being more successful than men when it comes to university and a lot of the corporate world, the legal world. Like there's a lot of women in very high positions. Still not the highest positions by and large, but I think statistically speaking, there's more women in executive positions now than, well, for sure than there ever have been, but I don't know if they've overtaken men at that point. But anyway, okay. So what are we going to do here? So we're doing this for women, doing this for the feminine energy, doing it for the earth. And we want this transition from masculine dominance to feminine. I don't think it's going to, is dominance the right word? Probably not, but let's just say, to a more feminine dominant energy. Something we can do with the transition, because women are going to have, men are having a hard time with it. Boys are having a hard time with it, most certainly. Women also, it's not easy. This, transition, this shift from one way of being to another way of being. And so the earth itself, and, this is actually like a nice thing to touch on as well. The earth is, we're, lots of talk about, the ascension process. It's the earth that's ascending. I may have touched on this in the first episode, but we are on the earth as the earth is going through its ascension process. The earth will no longer be the center, the home base for the three-dimensional physical reality. That'll be taking place on a different planet, and not one in our solar system. A different dimension, different timeline. But it is happening. And the earth is ascending. It is raising its frequency. Shifting its vibration upwards. And it's up to all of us to keep pace and to match it as best we can. And the women, the feminine is kind of more the frequency holder of that. And, Kali, the goddess Kali, is coming in here as a, again, talking about that savagery. Kali as a goddess, and in human design, there's 16 godheads. I don't know too much about this part of it really, but I know that Kali is my godhead. My son in the 49th gate is ruled by Kali, who's a destroyer. She'll cut off your head and dance on your corpse, and that's her role. There's something about that, just that frequency coming in and just being allowed to infuse itself. talking about fires, talking about Hawaii, our own fires in this country, fires in Greece, fires in a lot of places, fires in the Amazon. If the trees don't burn, the forest can't grow. It gets suffocated, and so destruction is a necessary part of creation. And the feminine, we're not looking at the masculine form of destruction. We're looking at the feminine form of destruction, which is less personal in a certain way, right? It's like, something more collective about it. So just bringing Kali in, that energy in, that destructive force in, and having her be infused into the feminine. And this has been, I think, the biggest thing taken away from women, talking about authority. Women have been conditioned to be subservient. I mean, there's no two ways about it. And Kali is anything but that. She is not subservient. And it is no longer necessary for the women to be subservient, to anything. They don't need to play the role, that has been given to them by, again, these systems, these corporate systems, these educational systems, whatever it is. They can destroy those too, or they can be destroyed too. The women don't have to do it themselves. It's just about holding that energy. And in clearing it out, in breaking these things down, cutting off the head, you make the room for the next thing, for the creation, which women are also very much designed for, right? Designed for the creative process, literally, right? Birthing things into existence. It's that feminine energy that does that. The masculine is there, it's a partner in it, but it's the feminine that brings it forward. So just infusing that feminine essence of the earth, of women, we're looking at women specifically. Obviously, men also, have feminine qualities, but primarily looking at women here and just infusing that energy of Kali into all of you taking part in this broadcast with me here. And bringing it right to the heart, because destruction can be out of love, and destruction can be harmonious. Both things that the heart represents, love and harmony and joy, and sadness, but all those other things, more so. All right, let's give that a second. All right, so Krista has been kind enough to give me her birth info. So let's take a look at her human design. Just going to enter her here. Just bear with me. Ooh, 14. 1969. Davenport, Iowa. All right. Okay, John, I'm just going to email this chart to you, and you can put it up for me?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is great. This is good stuff. Okay. Well, this is really cool, actually, because Krista and I have a lot in common. So the first thing is, so, okay. John, just let me know when the chart's up.
Right on.
Okay.
No problem. I'll downloading it right now.
Okay. So, yeah. Krista is an emotional generator. So talking about strategy, talking about authority. The generator strategy is to wait to respond, right? So as a generator, Krista, it is very important for you to respond to what is, right? It's not now. You do have some mental, intellectual gifts, so those aren't to be ignored or denied, right? When I'm talking about freeing our mind, it is literally this. It's like our minds are gifts. If we allow them to be what they are and not burden them with the responsibility of making decisions and strategizing and planning our whole life, then we get to access those gifts. And Krista has some gifts, most definitely. Specifically, she's got the 4323, 2343 design Sun Earth, design Sun in the 23rd gate, design Earth in the 43rd gate. This is the genius to freak. It's the channel of structuring. So basically, Krista has the capacity of bringing ideas and thoughts into the collective awareness, and it's also what's called the incarnation cross. So she has the incarnation cross of explanation, because the 2343 is her Sun Earth.
It's up.
Awesome, man. Thank you. So that's so if you go from the top, that yellow center is the head. The one beneath that, the green center, is the ajna, and the one below that, we're looking at the throat. We're looking at the channel that connects the green and the brown, the ajna and the throat center, the 4323, which I also have. My Sun Earth is on the personality side, 4323. But basically, when you have this kind of alignment, people will ask you questions and you can give them answers, and you will draw the answers from seemingly out of nowhere. Sound cuts out. Okay, I guess just let us know if that keeps happening, and I'll keep going. Maybe I'm brushing the mic. Okay. Right angle cross of explanation. With the 2343, you have a potential for mutation through your mind. The ideas and the concepts and the thoughts that you have and are able to share with the right people will potentially change them, much like what I'm doing here, what I do with my clients when I'm working on them. I'm utilizing that channel, that 4323, to bring in information and structure it in a way that's very suitable for the people who are ready to hear it or who need to hear it from me. I don't know what you do for a living, but whatever it is, allowing yourself the time and space to to access information in that way. It's basically like channeling. Like if someone asks you something, you just open your mind to whatever comes in, something will come in and it will be correct by and large. And the more that you can do that, the more fulfilling, you are, because your purpose on this planet in this lifetime is to explain things, and to explain things in a way that other people haven't maybe thought about, and to bring in new concepts that have impact on the people who hear it. And so now there's something coming in, Krista. So I'm just gonna clear you so that I can explain your body graph in a way that's satisfying for both of us. But there is something coming in that doesn't want us to really get there. So let's see what I can do for you today. Yeah, so again, we just have some system coming in trying to, push us in a certain direction, push the information in a certain direction, make it unclear. It's focused on you in particular. So yeah, it's just, again, I don't know I don't know anything about you, obviously, but, you are being messed with in a certain way. You have something to deliver, you have a message, and that message is being manipulated, or you're being manipulated away from the message. The message is. So, I have no doubt that you have a relationship, with your, intuition, or even what you can call like your psychic nature, with your inspiration also, like where you draw inspiration from. You have a defined head center, so there's a consistent access to inspiration. Your inspiration, your thoughts might come in as a little scattered here and there, but that's actually because you're trying to connect the past and the future in a certain way, right? You're which is totally correct. You draw from the past to kind of make sense of your present in a way that isn't like everyone else, because 70% of the population doesn't have a defined head center. So we're not doing, like, I don't do that. I can't do that. If I bring my past into my present, it rarely goes well. For sure about the future. Again, talking about how our minds like to think that we can plan for the future by going by what's worked in our past. For someone like you, that's actually true. Not your individual past necessarily, more the collective. What's worked for people before. Well, some of it will still work for people now, and some of it will work for people later. It's not all bad. You're very good at actually identifying where things have worked and how to continue to make them work and how to bring them into the future, how to modernize them, so that they will continue to work for the people who need that. Not everyone's going to need that, obviously. But there's something coming in that's really messing with that part of it. You're drawing on the past and sort of modernizing it, bringing it into the present in a way that still works, putting it into the future in a way that will work, which would be very frustrating for you. So, whenever generators are frustrated, you know that you're being messed with, basically. All generators, what we're all going for is satisfaction, a feeling of satisfaction. If we're not feeling satisfied, something's not right. If we're feeling frustrated, something's not right. So, yeah, so you're a bit of a frustrated generator because you can't draw on the past and bring it into the present and the future in a way that you can or should. There's disappointment maybe about it. Something protective, like you want to do it for yourself, but also for others. Because again, like it's a collective energy. Not people in your tribe necessarily, but sort of like a general humanity. So we're just going to remove that system from your field. Put it someplace it can't do that to someone else. Yeah, and okay, perfect. So, Krista, you're also a martyr heretic. You're a 3-5 profile. So for you, the people who you're around, the people who you can share things with, the people that you can be a part of, a part of something with, very important. Again, part of your purpose. So, the 3 is very social. And the 5 is all about finding solutions, so and unorthodox solutions, thinking outside of what's normal, say. So yeah, with that 2343, with the 3-5, with the channel of explanation, it's like, yeah, you have a very mutative mind, a very mutative intellect. You can draw on the past and restructure it in a way that will help people in the present and the future. And we're going to need that. We're going to need people like you to give us novel solutions to the problems that we are facing and that we're going to be facing. And there's going to be this motivation to throw everything away, to break. And I know I was just working on kind of like that destructive feminine force coming in, and that is happening. It is going to be happening, and so a lot will be thrown away. But we still will need people like you who can identify what will still work and what we should still retain, for our own good, for the good of the collective, which is comprised of individuals. So, yeah, so that's awesome. The other thing that I will touch on is the 59.6, which is actually bringing us back to authority. So the strategy for the generator is waiting, right? Waiting to respond. Someone comes to you, asks you something, offers you something, you say yes or no, but you're an emotional being, so you have to wait. So opportunities will come to you, but you have to wait till you have emotional clarity, emotional clarity before you can say yes or no to something. Ideally, you should sleep on it, doesn't matter what it is, sleep on it. Give yourself some time. Don't think about it too much, right? Because that's not where the answers are. The answers are going to be found in your emotional intensity. If you're feeling emotionally intense about something, don't say yes or no to it. And if someone puts pressure on you to give them an answer immediately, then it's going to be a no. It's going to be a no if there's pressure. You have to be given the chance to come to your own conclusions over however, and again, talking about time. Your authority is over time. Emotional beings have authority over time, literally over time. It's pretty wild. Time for us works different than it does for non-emotional beings. Non-emotional beings need to respond quickly, especially if they're splenic. If they have splenic authority, splenic projectors, splenic manifestors. The spleen only says it one time, and if you don't listen, you're on your own. But sacral generators, they can just, it's just like that fast. Yeah, okay, that sounds good, or I don't want to. It's that fast. But, emotional generators, it's a very different thing. And with the open root, you got an open root center. So that center at the bottom, again, just pressure for you. There's nothing there for you. If you had to define, the head is also a root center. The head is also a pressure center. There's mental pressure, which you actually respond to very, very well and can use. But for most people, because 70% of the population has an open head, that mental pressure brings nothing. So I have an open head. My thoughts don't. It's like I only think about things that don't matter. You know what I mean? Unless I'm doing this kind of stuff where I'm structuring my thoughts according to what it is I'm actually doing. Right? I'm actually doing something here, so my thoughts are kind of being streamlined through that 4323. The 59.6 that you have, which is important because that's also connecting your sacral, which is your type, your sacral center, which makes you a generator, to your emotional center, which is what your authority is. That's called the channel of mating, and I also have that channel, and it's it makes you like attractive. Makes people want to be doing things with you. It draws people in. It's fertile. There's a sexual component to it. The sixth gate. It's like the 59th gate's literally the gate of sexuality, and the sixth gate's the gate of friction. You can't make babies without friction, right? But friction is conflict. It's gate of conflict. You'll have conflict. You'll have friction with people, but that's creative, you know. So you have to, part of being an emotional being and having that sixth gate and having that whole channel means that, yeah, like you'll rub people the wrong way at times, but that's fine. It's necessary. You know, you'll rub yourself the wrong way, right? You'll feel all kinds of things. You'll feel friction in your environment. You'll feel friction in your home. You'll feel friction in your relationships. And it's not to be solved. It's not to be, resolved necessarily. It's gonna take you somewhere. It's gonna take you where. It's gonna take you to the right decision for you. And if it's the right decision for you, then it's the right decision for everyone, even if they don't like it, even if it rubs them the wrong way. The last thing that I will just point out is the arrows up top. These are called variables. And all your arrows point left. Most people have a combination of right and left pointing arrows. The more left you have, the more strategic you are. So I was talking about freeing our mind from the, more strategic planning, organizing principles that we've all been sort of raised under. Again, for you though, you can do that. You can't, because all your variables point left. You're really here to be strategic. You're here to be active. You're here to be focused. So, as long as you're following your strategy and authority, giving yourself the time to respond that you need in order to make the right decision, you can let your mind go. You can come up with some cool shit. With that, really beautiful mind that you have. So thank you. This is actually a perfect body graph for us to be looking at, based on what I was working on earlier and just freeing our mind. You have a beautiful mind, and you should, let yourself enjoy it, for sure. All right, I think I'm gonna end on that one. I see there's a few people wanting their charts read. What I'd like to do, because I don't have time today to be doing that, but I do appreciate you sending me your birth info. Yeah, thank you, Krista. So what I want to do is for the people, so Randy and Angela, if you guys can, how will we do this? I want to connect with you, and I want to give you this kind of same kind of deal, like a brief breakdown of your human design. So if you can,
I can get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I will connect you with you guys after the show is over, and we will connect off air, and we'll just do it that way. I appreciate you all very much. Okay, I think that's good. I think I've reached my limit for today. I've had a fever for the past few days. Whatever's going around, I caught. So my energy is not like super high. So I'm gonna stop here for tonight. But I look forward to seeing you all next week. And thank you so much for taking part in this with me. See you all later.